What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Talking about episode 191, and on today's episode, we're going to talk about the Core 4 Plus news. We got World Cup 2026 heating up, plus we got a couple major injuries out of the NHL, and the MLB has new media rights and deals that we're going to discuss right now. All right, let's head out to the world of soccer because soccer is ramping up. If you guys like soccer at all, World Cup is just around the corner. A lot of teams have officially got their way into the World Cup. All the auto bids have been officially handed out. Now we just have the playoff spots to play for now. So the auto bids, here are all the teams that have qualified for the World Cup now. Starting off, USA, Canada, Mexico. The hosts automatically make it in. Makes sense. Japan, New Zealand, Iran. Argentina, Uzbekistan, South Korea, Jordan, Australia, Brazil. Ecuador, Uruguay, Paraguay, Colombia, Morocco, Tunisia. Egypt, Algeria, Ghana, Cape Verde, South Africa, Qatar. England, Saudi Arabia, Ivory Coast, Senegal, France, Croatia. Portugal, Norway, Germany, Netherlands, Belgium, Austria. Switzerland, Spain, Scotland, Panama, Haiti, and lastly, Curacao. A couple of these teams just qualified for it. Those last two lists definitely just qualified. Norway getting into the first time since '98, along with Austria. Scotland getting into it on a stoppage time winner in the 96th minute. Great job by Scotland. Haiti getting in the first time in 50 years. And Curacao being the smallest nation by population and size to ever qualify for the World Cup. So congrats to all those squads that automatically qualified for the World Cup. They were put into pots now. Now these pots are interesting because the pots mean that all of pot A will not be facing against each other in group stage, all of the pot B, C, D, etc. So looking at it, USA, Mexico, Canada, all in pot A, which makes sense. You're the host. But looking at teams that the US could qualify and put it into a group together with, Croatia's in B. That's a scary one just based on the fact that Croatia is always a good team in the World Cup, regardless of how they look coming into it. They're always a top team. So that's scary to look at. Morocco had a great showing in Qatar. Can they do it again? Uruguay, initially would say scary. After what the U.S. just did to them, bring them on, put them in our group. I don't care. Japan's always pretty good. South Korea is always pretty good. So pretty good names out of B. Out of C, Norway, just based on the fact that Erling Haaland's going to be there. How good will they be? They haven't been there since '98. That could be a scary good team. Egypt, based off of just having Mo Salah, that team gets a lot better. So that could be a scary team. Saudi Arabia is known for having upsets. That could be a good team to go up against too. In Group D, not a lot because we have the 6 playoff teams that will be in there as well. But teams like Ghana, USA and Ghana, a lot of history. Could we see Ghana again in our group stage? Could be something to note there. But the play-ins, those 6 teams that will be in the pot D will be playing for that final spot. So the European teams that could potentially be in the spots there, 4 of those will go to the European teams, 2 of them to the other FIFA federations. So we'll start off with the European teams that have a chance to make those 4 spots. Those will be Albania, Bosnia, Czechia, Denmark, Italy, Kosovo, Northern Ireland, North Macedonia, Poland, Ireland, Romania, Slovakia, Sweden, Turkey, Ukraine, Wales. Now looking at this, the 4 that would come to mind right off the bat, I haven't even circled these before. Italy should make it in. I don't know how Italy has not made it in. That's 3 straight World Cup qualifiers that they have not hit an auto bid. So Italy should make it in. Denmark, I feel like, should get in. Poland should get in. And I want to see a team like Wales or Sweden should get in. So I know that's 5 right there, but Sweden has been scoring, so I'm going to give the edge to Wales. So right off the top of the bat, those are my 4 teams that I think could make it out. Now, I don't know how well these teams did in qualifiers outside of what I know from like teams like Sweden, how they were able to qualify yet not scoring like at all. So I think outside of that, I don't know too much, but those are my 4 teams that I would say right off the top of my head, they should be able to qualify for the playoffs. Denmark, Italy, Poland, Wales. Again, those never really happen because you're always going to get a team like Northern Ireland who's going to put up an upset, get past somebody they probably shouldn't. So we'll see what happens with Europe. For the rest of the federations, these are the teams that will be playing for a spot. The 2 spots, actually, will be Congo, Jamaica, Iraq, Suriname, Bolivia, and New Caledonia. I've never heard of that country before. Looking at these teams, I really hope Suriname actually makes it, and either Congo or Jamaica. I'm going to go Jamaica with that. So we could potentially see 8 CONCACAF teams in the playoffs here. And that would be pretty amazing to see that. Congo and Jamaica would be kind of a flip-flop in my opinion. Jamaica just got to put a good roster together for those playoff games. But really interesting to look at. But now, heading over to that, moving on from that actually, we got the world rankings. So, new graphic here. Here's the world rankings. Top 5 is Spain, Argentina, France, England, Brazil. The rest are actually the top, I believe, 30 on the graphic, and then we got a couple more at the bottom of all the qualifying teams. So I'm not going to name them all off, but some notable ones. Here's the rest of the top 10. Portugal at 6, Netherlands at 7, Belgium at 8, Germany at 9, Croatia at 10. Italy, who, again, not qualified for the World Cup yet, is at 12. The United States at 14, Mexico at 15, Canada at 27. A couple other ones to note. The lowest team so far that has qualified is New Zealand at 86. Curacao, the smallest nation, the qualifier right now, they're at 82. Ivory Coast, they're back in the World Cup. They're at 42 right now. So a couple of these teams very low on the rankings, but it doesn't matter as long as they make it through qualifiers, and they did it. So again, not going to name them all off. So if you're not on the YouTube channel, go check it out if you want to see the full rankings of the FIFA World Rankings. Last thing to talk about from soccer, the U.S. men's national team is officially done for the calendar year with coming into games. They played 5 games to end off the year, and they won 4 of those 5, drawing in one of them, all against World Cup teams. So this is very positive, 4-1-0 in the last 5 games of the calendar year. 2 wins in the last window a couple days ago. They beat Paraguay 2-1, and they beat Uruguay 5-1. Uruguay, that was a historic game for the U.S. U.S. has never scored 5 goals against a World Cup winning team. Uruguay, obviously, I think has 2 World Cups, for sure 1, potentially 2 World Cups. That's the most they've scored against a World Cup team. That's the most they've scored against a CONMEBOL team ever. The highest was 4 against, I believe, Bolivia, they said on the broadcast. And the last time they scored 5 against a team of that caliber, I believe, was since 2012, a European team, UEFA team. So really interesting to see that the U.S. is clicking now, not even having Weston McKennie, not having Jedi Robinson, not having Christian Pulisic on this team. Guys like Gio Reyna, who, again, I am not a big fan of Gio Reyna anymore. He's just kind of over his drama, but he stepped up, played great in the game against Paraguay, came on as a sub for Uruguay, gets a nice assist, does get a yellow card, but I like the chippiness from him. That team needs somebody like that. So really good performance by the U.S. men's national team going into 2026. There's not a lot of games left, though. I think there might be like 5 to 6 friendlies left in between now and the World Cup. So the U.S. have to figure it out on what that roster is going to look like, who is officially going to be on the starting rosters. But really exciting news. World Cup is right around the corner, so really exciting to see what the U.S. is going to do before the World Cup starts. All right, let's head to the NHL now. We'll start off with some signings. The Rangers signed Spencer Martin to 2 years, $775,000 AAV. Ottawa extends Shane Pinto to 4 years, $7.5 million AAV. Colorado signed Scott Wedgwood, 1 year, $2.5 million. And the Kings signed Adrian Kempe, 8 years, $10.625 million AAV. I like all these signings, to be honest. I think the Rangers getting a little bit more depth. Goalies are fine. He's probably going to be playing down in the A, but having a depth goalie does make a difference. Shane Pinto, as long as his offensive performance stays up, that could be a really good look now. Scott Wedgwood, has been relied on as a solid backup for Colorado. Hopefully he stays healthy. I think that 1 year, 2.5 is not going to hurt him too bad. Adrian Kempe now. This is the big one. 8 years, 10.6. I like this. It's a high AAV, yes, but thinking about where the Kings are going to be in the future, they might not have a lot of big contracts to sign outside of maybe Byfield that I could think of that needs a new contract. I could be wrong. I think Byfield might have a new contract now, but Kempe could be that new guy that a lot of people saw Kopitar as the leader, the captain, the guy that's been there forever. I could see Adrian Kempe being that new Anze Kopitar leadership in the locker room. So maybe Kempe will be that new guy for the Kings. Some injuries to note. The Devils' Jack Hughes will be out 8 weeks after surgery on his hand after a fluke injury at a team dinner. Supposedly he cut his hand. Don't know much about that outside of that. But definitely tough news for the Devils. The Panthers' Eetu Luostarinen will be out week to week due to a barbecue burn. So 2 fluke injuries back to back to some big names. So we don't know how long Luostarinen will be out outside of just week to week. And Boston's Charlie McAvoy will be out indefinitely after undergoing surgery on his face due to a puck hitting him. He lost a couple chiclets there. Really solid shot that took him right in the jaw. So 3 big name injuries to note for these teams, and even for potentially the Olympics here, which we'll talk about real quick. The IIHF has mandated neck guards for all players in the 2026 Olympic Games. Just something to note. I don't think it's going to affect any of these players, but just a little segue into the IIHF and Olympic hockey. So milestones to note, St. Louis Blues, Cam Fowler hit the 500-point mark. He's the 13th active defenseman to have that many points. So congrats to you, Fowler. Washington's Alex Ovechkin does another milestone, this time passing Gordie Howe for the most goals at one venue. It was his 442nd goal at Capital One Arena. So congrats to Ovi. More and more milestones checked off for him. Minnesota's Jesper Wallstedt becomes the first rookie in Minnesota history to record back-to-back shutouts, 64 total saves in those 2 games. Congrats to Wallstedt. Now let's talk about the real thing I want to talk about in the NHL, the new Winter Classic uniforms. Now these are interesting team matchups. We got Florida versus New York down in Sunrise, Florida. I don't know what to think about the venue. Obviously, it's not going to be that cold. It's not going to be the games that we've seen like at Michigan Stadium or where was Notre Dame Stadium, where we had Boston and Chicago in the snowstorm. We're not going to get that kind of venue this year, which kind of hurts because I think the Winter Classic is that kind of game where I'm okay with it only being on the East Coast in the cold areas, because it feels like that's the kind of game. Now, I'm okay with teams getting outdoor games, but I would like it to be a Stadium Series game like this for Florida. But when you win back-to-back Stanley Cups, it's kind of hard to ignore you guys. So we'll start off back-to-back Stanley Cup champs, Florida Panthers uniform. It's a brand new uniform and logos that we've never seen before. Red base uniform, blue shoulders that come down to the arms, thick pin striping in gold and striping verticals on the arms that are only seen on the blue part, not the red part, because the blue is halfway. White numbers, tan pants and gloves, blue helmets, blue socks with the striping that we see on the arms. A Leaping Panther logo is back on the front, but in a new style. Kind of looks like an old style, but it's new and modernized almost, but not as like the modernized that we see on the helmets of the Panthers or alternate uniforms. Not like that. A Winter Classic logo is on one of the shoulders with a new circle alternate logo with a Panther silhouette saying Florida Panthers and a red cut up circle around it on the other shoulder. Overall, what do I get this out of 10? Because we always rate them out of 10. A 9.3 out of 10. I think this Panther look is very nice. I think the colors complement each other. The only problem I have is I hate pinstriping from the Reebok era. Now, this isn't a pinstriping like the Reebok era, but it just gives me that kind of style, which I did not like in the Reebok style. So that's the only biggest gripe I have. I like the new shoulder patch logo that they got here. The front of the logo pad, or the Leaping Panther logo, I think it's okay. I think the ones that they had before, the original one and the modernized one that they use now once in a while, I think those ones are better than this one, but I like introducing a kind of new stylized Panther to kind of match that classic look. So I like that look. The tan gloves and pants, I'm fine with. It doesn't really bother me. The socks, I don't like. I think too many stripes on the socks, kind of busy. But as a whole, 9.3 out of 10. I think they look really nice. Something we've never seen before from the Panthers. And yet it's still kind of something that we have seen. So I like what they did there. Now heading over to the Rangers, this is just an inverse of their 100th anniversary jersey that they use now. The blue one that they use now, they inverse the colors. So it's an off-white base with the words New York across the front in blue. We got blue names and numbers as well to complement that. Blue, red, and blue stripes on the arms, a red collar, and red and blue striping at the very bottom of the jersey. Winter Classic logo is on one shoulder with the Apple logo that we've never seen before, with an NYR inside of it on the other shoulder. The blue helmet with red pants, socks to match the arms, and the gloves are the normal gloves that we see now on the Rangers, just taking away the white for off-white. Overall, I think it's fine, not bad. I kind of like that we have a baby blue version of this uniform and now a off-white version of this uniform. So we pretty much have a home and away of these uniforms. I think that the jerseys that we have now for the Rangers, the normal blue and the normal white, are better than these anniversary and Winter Classic jerseys. But I like them regardless. So I'm going to 7.1 out of 10. There's really nothing wrong about them. It's just we've seen it before, and we've seen it with the inverse colors, 2 months ago when they announced this new jersey. So overall, not bad uniform, 7.1 out of 10. I think these uniform matchups are going to look pretty nice on the ice. Again, the only gripe is it's a Winter Classic and not a Stadium Series. That's the only gripe I have, but good job for the NHL. Really nice uniforms. All right, heading to MLB, we'll start off with some awards. The Cy Young is awarded to Paul Skeens and Tarek Skubal. Skubal becomes the first back-to-back AL pitcher to win it since Pedro Martinez, so congrats to both guys. MVP went to Aaron Judge and Shohei Ohtani. Ohtani becomes the first player to win multiple MVPs in each league, so he's got 4 total, so congrats to Shohei and Judge there. Comeback Player of the Year, Ronald Acuna and Jacob deGrom both winning. Reliever of the Years, Edwin Diaz and Aroldis Chapman. Rookie of the Years, which I've got to write down, were Nick Kurtz and Drake Baldwin, so congrats to all those guys with the awards there. World Baseball Classic news, Corbin Carroll announced that he will be playing for the United States this upcoming summer, or spring actually. And Kike Hernandez announced that he will not be playing for Puerto Rico because he had an elbow surgery done a couple weeks ago. So he will be out for Puerto Rico. 13 players have received a 1-year, $22 million qualifying offer. Of those, not many have accepted it. Only 4 players have accepted it, and that is the following: Trent Grisham, Shota Imanaga, Gleyber Torres, and Brandon Woodruff. So all those players have agreed to 1 year, $22 million. The ones that rejected it were Bo Bichette, Dylan Cease, Edwin Diaz, Zach Gallen, Michael King, Kyle Schwarber, Ranger Suarez, Kyle Tucker, and Framber Valdez. Looking at all these, outside of maybe Zach Gallen, in my opinion, will probably get more AAV. So hopefully they do end up getting that, but that still doesn't mean that those guys are gone and away from their teams. That means that they just will be able to take offers from other teams, maybe use that as leverage against their current teams right now. A couple DFA news. Michael Toglia was DFA'd by Colorado and Nathaniel Lowe for Boston. A trade between the Los Angeles Angels and the Baltimore Orioles happened yesterday. It was a 1-for-1. Taylor Ward goes from the Angels to the Orioles in exchange for Grayson Rodriguez, so an outfielder for a pitcher. Looking as it for an Angels perspective, because I don't know the roster all that well for Baltimore, despite me wearing a Baltimore hat. I am an Angel fan. So looking at this trade, I think for the Angels, it sucks seeing Taylor Ward go. He's been there a long time, probably like 6-7 years or so. So it sucks seeing him go away. But Grayson Rodriguez coming in return, it's a pitcher, a starter, let alone that has had pretty good years, has good velo, has some good stuff. Can he keep it together with the Angels? I hope so. So I think hopeful look for the Angels is much more positive than losing Taylor Ward, which still sucks. Don't get me wrong. I think Taylor Ward's a great player. He's going to do well in Baltimore. But I think losing Taylor Ward for a pitcher who might have some good potential next season, I will take that any day of the week. A couple of news for 2026. Atlanta and Milwaukee were awarded the 2026 Little League Classic game, so they will be playing that. And a lot of media rights have come out and been agreed on. A 3-year deal for Netflix, NBC, and ESPN. And here are the following. So next year, you're going to be able to find all these games on these certain networks. And we have a lot to go through real quick. So we'll start off. We'll go through it very quickly. Netflix will get opening night between the Yankees and the Giants. The Home Run Derby, the Field of Dreams game between Philadelphia and Minnesota. NBC will get Sunday Night Baseball wildcard games, All-Star Game week coverage, the MLB draft, and special event games like Opening Day and Labor Day games. ESPN will get a 30-game package each season, plus you will be allowed to purchase MLB.tv through their app, exclusive broadcasts of the Little League Classic and second half openers. Fox and FS1 will be getting the World Series, the League Championship games, the Division Championship games, All-Star Game, World Baseball Classic, and select games and special events throughout the year. TBS announced that they were beginning the League Championship games and Division Series games again. Tuesday Night Baseball for select games. Apple TV will still be getting Friday Night Baseball, and MLB Network, will be getting live games once in a while and still have all their studio shows for next season. So a lot to go through right there. Overall, it doesn't really bother me. I have subscriptions to all of these outside of Apple, but my team's playing on Apple TV. I have ways around that. Not going to announce it right now, but still doesn't really bother me that they got a new media deal. So just something to note for you guys. Let's head to the NFL. Start off with the injuries. Titans, Calvin Ridley out for the year with a broken fibula. Atlanta announced that Drake London will be out week 12 with a PCL strain. Might be longer. They just did not want to announce that. Michael Penix Jr., though, will be done for the year with an ACL injury. Should recover in 9 months. So that's tough for Atlanta. Philadelphia announced that Lane Johnson will be out next week, potentially up 4 to 6 weeks with a Lisfranc sprain. And lastly, the Jets announced they were moving away from Justin Fields next week and will move on to Tyrod Taylor as their quarterback. Score updates from last week. The Jets lose to New England 27-14. The Bears beat the Vikings 19-17. The Niners beat the Cardinals 41-22. The Commanders lose to the Dolphins 16-13. Carolina beats Atlanta in overtime 30-27. The Bucks lose to the Bills 44-32. The Titans lose to Houston 16-13. Green Bay beat the Giants 27-20. Cincinnati lose to Pittsburgh 34-12. The Chargers get smoked by Jacksonville 35-6. Seattle lose to the Rams 21-19. Baltimore beats Cleveland 23-16. Kansas City loses to Denver 22-19. Detroit loses to Philadelphia 16-9. And Dallas beats Vegas on Monday night 33-16. All right, matchups and our picks for the upcoming week. Buffalo versus Houston. I'm going with an upset. I got Houston in that one. Pittsburgh versus Chicago. Super excited for this game. Give me the Bears. New England versus Cincinnati. I'm going to go Cincinnati despite New England looking pretty good the last couple of weeks. The Giants versus the Lions. I'm going to go the Lions in that one. Minnesota, Green Bay. Got to go Green Bay. I think they're just in a better form. Seattle versus Tennessee. I wanted to pick an upset Tennessee here, but I don't see Seattle losing back-to-back weeks. Give me the Seahawks. Indianapolis versus Kansas City. Crazy enough, Kansas City might be 5-6 after this week, and I'm going to think they will. Give me Indianapolis to win that one. Jets versus Ravens. I'm going to go Ravens. Raiders versus Browns. Browns look really bad. I'm going to go Raiders. Jacksonville versus Arizona. I got Arizona with that one. Philadelphia, Dallas. Give me the Phillies despite losing Lane Johnson. It's going to be tough, but I think they still got it. Atlanta versus New Orleans. I got New Orleans. Atlanta just has too many injuries. Tampa Bay versus LA Rams. I got the Rams. The Rams look pretty damn good. Carolina versus San Francisco. I think San Francisco gets it done despite Carolina actually having pretty good looks. And the bye weeks this week belong to Denver, Miami, the LA Chargers, and Washington. All right, let's head to some games of the weekend. We'll start off with the NHL. Avalanche versus Blackhawks. I got that on Saturday. NFL, I got Pittsburgh versus Chicago Sunday at 10 on CBS. English Premier League, I got Arsenal versus Tottenham Sunday at 8:30 a.m. La Liga, I got Getafe versus Athletic Madrid, and that is going to be Sunday 9:30 a.m. on ESPN Plus and ESPN Deportes. And then I got Bundesliga, Red Bull Leipzig versus Bremen, Sunday 9:30 a.m. on ESPN Plus. Serie A, we got Inter Milan versus AC Milan. Love this matchup. Sunday at 11:45 a.m. Paramount Plus. Formula One, we got the Heineken Las Vegas Grand Prix. That'll be Saturday at 8 p.m. on ESPN. All right, guys, that will do for this episode. Thank you guys for listening. 191 episodes in the books. We appreciate you guys so much. If you guys want more content of what's going on in the playoffs, we're going to keep talking about that for the World Cup. Plus, we're going to keep on going with the MLB news because World Baseball Classic will be coming up pretty soon here. We got NHL news and NFL news, so we're going to keep busting out these episodes as much as we can. So if you guys like this kind of content, make sure you guys hit the like, subscribe, the bell icon so you guys are notified when episodes like this drop. We appreciate you guys so much. Have an awesome rest of your week, and we'll see you guys later.